Good morning. I am Barbara Ward. I am the Mistress of Ceremony for today's program. I am the Director for the Center for Minority Veterans with the Department of Veterans Affairs. It is indeed an honor to be here with you today to celebrate Veterans Day, the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. I am a Vietnam-era veteran. I am a former Air Force nurse that served during that era. I'd like to say welcome to our honored guests, to all of our veterans in the audience, to partners, to the HUD family who are here with us, as well as throughout HUD by live HUD webcasts. Thank you so much for participating in today's program. As you see, I have someone standing with me, so at this time I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremony, Mr. Lord Calderon.
Good morning. Thank you for that nice introduction. I retired from the Air Force in 2003, and then I came to work for the Small Business Administration, but I spent 4 years doing business development for veterans before I came here. And it's been a very rewarding time to be here in Washington, D.C. and interacting with folks such as yourself on a regular basis. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the presentation of the colors, the Pledge of Allegiance, the National Anthem, and an invocation in that order. If you're able, please stand for the presentation of the colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is the cup of the reconnaissance unit my dad was part of in Germany. Gracious God, we give you praise and thanks as we gather here on this day of commemoration, this day of tribute to those who have given of themselves, even laid down their lives, to secure and protect the blessings of freedom for our nation. Open our ears to hear of the sacrifices made by so many. Help us to take to heart just how many lives and how much treasure have been poured out to give us the very possibility of a culture of civic virtue, a culture of mutual respect, a culture in which genuine peace can take root. Please bless the men and women of our armed services who are here with us today, and in a special way, bless Commander Alvarez and his words here. May his courage and wisdom inspire us to dedicate ourselves anew to the common good, to all that will establish human flourishing through a strong family and civic life. Amen.
Please be seated.
At this time, I'd like to invite John Benison, who is the Director of the Office of Departmental Equal Opportunity, to give welcoming remarks.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Great, come on. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to HUD. On behalf of Secretary Castro and Deputy Secretary Coloretti, I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of our distinguished speakers this morning, as well as our guests in the audience, and most especially all of our veterans who have served so bravely for their country. It's an honor for me to be able to be here with you this morning and share a few opening remarks here at this wonderful event. You know, as the director of the Office of Departmental Equal Employment Opportunity here at the department, I have the great privilege of working with Walter Elmore and the leadership and membership of the Veterans Affinity Group. And it's really been amazing to work with this distinguished group as they have served as a voice for the department's veterans. They've been the conscience of the department in terms of veterans issues and building a model employment environment for our veterans here at HUD. And with VAG, my organization, the Office of the Deputy Secretary, the Office of the Chief Human Capital Officer, we have accomplished a lot, especially within the past year. And I'd like to share with you just a few of those accomplishments, if I may. First of all, we established a Veterans Liaison position within my office. And the Veterans Liaison position serves to assist our veterans if they feel that they're running into a conflict in the workplace. The Veterans Liaison will help our veterans to navigate the services and processes available to them. For the first time in HUD's history, the Secretary's policy statements on the prevention of discrimination include information on the rights of veterans. Also within the past year, the department and AFGE, one of our national unions, signed a new contract, and within the EEO article in that contract, we speak specifically to the rights of veterans and protecting the rights of veterans in the workplace. These are all what I think to be great accomplishments on behalf of veterans and building an inclusive environment here at the department for those men and women who have served our country so bravely. So we've accomplished a lot, but we also recognize that we still have a long way to go towards building a model work environment for veterans. And that's why in this fiscal year 2016, I'm committing to leading a climate survey here at HUD for our veterans, get the pulse from veterans about how they feel about the department, what's working well, where we can continue to make improvements. We're also going to build a veterans resource page on the EEO website, on our internal and external websites, and we're going to continue to partner with the Veterans Affinity Group to determine how can we build a strong, positive work environment for our veterans. So I think that we're really, as I said, making progress. We still have a long way to go, We want to continue to hear feedback both from internal and external groups about how we can make HUD a great environment for our veterans. Finally, in closing, I'd like to just say a few words of thank you to all of our veterans. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for the courage that you've displayed, the honor that you've displayed, and most importantly, thank you for your service to our country. May God bless our veterans, their families, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benison. At this time, can I ask the audience to please stand once again? We would like to do an honored tradition where we remember our POWs and those who are missing in action. And for many of you, I'm sure you're familiar with this tradition, and I'm sure that you noticed, if you look to your right of the stage, that we have a table that is symbolic and represents those service members and civilians who could not be with us today that are missing in action. The POWs and MIAs represent all branches of our military service. Cadet Macia is standing next to the table, and she will pinpoint the items as I describe the significance of each one. The table is round to show our everlasting concern. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of motives when answering the call to serve. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the loved ones and friends of the missing Americans who keep the faith, awaiting for the answers. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, a symbol of our continued determination to account for our missing. A slice of lemon on a bread plate reminds us of the bitter fate of all those captured and missing in a foreign land. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by those missing and their families who seek answers. The Bible, representing strength, gained through faith, sustaining those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted, symbolizing their inability to share today's program with us. The chair is empty because they remain missing. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to invite HUD's Chief Judge, Jeremiah Mahoney, to offer some comments.
Thank you very much. Good morning, HUD. I was going to do my Robin Williams impression of Adrian Cronauer, but it didn't come off too well at home, and I'm sure it wouldn't have come off well here. But Walter Elmore, who, as you know, is the VAG chairman forever, has done a great job putting together these ceremonies. He asked me to say a few words. He trusted me as an attorney to only say a few words, so I'm going to try and do that. I entered active duty in 1970, midway through the Vietnam War. I was never in Vietnam, but I am a Vietnam War veteran. I'm also a Cold War veteran and a Gulf War veteran. I did not, as I say, serve in Vietnam, but when I was serving in Germany, I was there the day the Berlin Wall fell. That felt like actually winning a war. We haven't had that feeling for a while. I was also in theater during the first Gulf War, actually presiding over courts-martial in a hostile fire zone. Again, no one actually shot at me, though, but I stretched my career through 3 periods of war. One of the things that strikes me, though, today, thinking about the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, is the people I know, the people I knew as a child, people I knew in college, whose names appear on that black wall at the Vietnam Memorial. But the one I think about most was one of the 8 military women on that wall, who I knew personally. She was the only Air Force woman who was killed in the Vietnam War. Her name was Mary Clinker. She was a flight nurse on the C-5 that crashed during the Operation Baby Lift, you may recall, that was bringing babies of Caucasian, Asian extraction to the United States for adoption. And unfortunately, on takeoff, that plane experienced a problem with the door seals and had to turn around. The pilots made a heroic effort to avoid a crash, but they crash landed it, and 138 of the 350 some odd people on board were killed. One of them was my friend, Captain Mary Clinker, and I'll remember her today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. We put a face and a name and a person to these things, and it just makes it that much more important that we're here celebrating Veterans Day. At this time, it is with great honor that I introduce Dr. Irene Trowell Harris to provide opening remarks. Dr. Irene Trowell Harris is the former director of the Center for Women Veterans with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and she retired in 2013. To see her, you wouldn't think she's old enough to retire, but she's there, serving 38 years in the Air Force, and she attained the rank of Major General. She was the first African-American female in the history of the National Guard to be promoted to the status of General Officer. She's a distinguished alumna of Yale University and Columbia University, and without further ado, Dr. Trowell Harris.
Good morning. To the Honorable Alvarez, distinguished guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to give opening remarks at HUD's 2015 Veterans Day ceremony, the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War commemoration. For Vietnam War veterans, it has been long overdue thanks. Too often they were overlooked, but seemed genuinely touched when honored and remembered. In honoring these veterans, we must include personnel who were held prisoner of war or listed as missing in action for their service and sacrifice on behalf of the United States. Also to thank and honor the families of these veterans. Military spouses had to endure constant change and a disproportionate share of parental responsibilities. The children had to endure the uncertainty of whether or not mom or dad would live through the next combat mission. Veterans have earned this recognition and day of appreciation. Wreaths are placed, speeches given, war stories swapped, and dinner tables set in honor of all who swore their lives to protect our country. The bravery and sacrifice of some of our nation's finest men and women will be acknowledged and honored. For many veterans, uncommon valor is a common virtue. We must ask ourselves as a nation, are we serving our veterans even half as well as they have served us? You can support veterans by helping with services and projects that benefit them. Too often, some of today's tattered citizens on the street are a yesterday's hero in a crisp uniform with rows of shining medals. This is hardly the thanks of a grateful nation. We can do better, and we must do better for our veterans. Many of our veterans that will be honored here today perform remarkable acts of bravery and selflessness under extreme and dangerous conditions. We owe them so much: our safety, prosperity, our freedom, and in some cases, our lives. They did their duty with grace, honor, and courage. Veterans are this nation's unsung heroes. Their families and friends may have been the only ones who knew them well, who knew of sacrifices they made to service our country. In peacetime especially, it is easy to forget that these men and women were on duty in lonely outposts around the world. Our veterans have missed the births of their children, wedding, anniversaries, and graduation. America has been blessed as no other country in this world. The sacrifice of our armed forces has given us security, freedom, and which to grow and to flourish as a nation. Today, we remember the men and women who tonight and every other night of the year will be sitting alone in the dark, waiting to go on patrol, keeping the peace close to home, or standing guard in their uniforms and lay their lives down for all of us. Today, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardmen who have stepped forward and answered the call. They are tomorrow's veterans. Let us continue to honor our veterans by supporting them with a unity of purpose and a unity of action. May God richly bless you, and may God bless America.
Thank you, Dr. Trowell Harris, for those wonderful remarks. I think her presentation really demonstrated to us the meaning of why we're all here today. Just to vary just a little bit from our program agenda, I'd like to ask the members of the Buffalo Soldiers who are here in the audience to please stand. Do we have any members? Okay. Well, if they're not here today, we actually have a short video that we would like for you all to view. I think if we were to go around the room today and take a poll and ask each of you, what does Veterans Day mean to you? There would be a common theme, a common thread, but we'd find that your perspective would be different because of your background and because of your unique experiences. So I'd like for you to view this short video, and then we will continue with our program as scheduled. Thank you.
I was in the United States Army, served 21 years.
I served in the Army, military police,
combat engineers, airborne.
Veterans Day means it's a time when our country shows its appreciations to the veterans and the sacrifice that they have made to the country and the service.
It brings back memories of what we did over there and what we tried to accomplish.
Veterans Day means to me celebrating veterans. Again, celebrating veterans who have served their country honorably.
Veterans Day, when it comes up, it just makes everybody aware of what the veterans did throughout all the wars. It brings the generations who are not veterans, it helps them celebrate all the fallen soldiers and keep their memory in check, and for we never forget what they did for our country.
I cherish Veteran Day because that tells me that not everybody, but the majority of people, when we come back, say, hey, we appreciate what you have done. And that's what it means to me.
I served proudly for 21 years, and I'm still a soldier.
find that very moving, it's very touching, because you can hear the passion, you can see the true meaning and spirit behind those particular veterans and their perspective of what Veterans Day means. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Verna Jones. She will deliver our call to action message. Ms. Jones is the Executive Director of the American Legion National Headquarters. She is responsible for directing the American Legion's legislative, national security, veterans employment and education, and Veterans Affairs policies and field operations. She has held several assignments throughout her career with the American Legion organization in DC and in North Carolina. Ms. Jones is a U.S. Army veteran. I introduce to you Verna Jones.
To care for him who shall have borne the battle for his widow and his orphan. That's what Abraham Lincoln said of the VA. But ladies and gentlemen, look around this room and feel blessed. You are among our nation's heroes. This room is filled with men and women who thought that country, love of country, is bigger than self, and they answered the call to protect each and every one of us. Yet on any given night, it's estimated that 50,000 veterans sleep on the street homeless. An estimated 22 per day commit suicide. Veterans come home from serving their nation, and yet they struggle to find employment, to care for the basic needs for themselves and for their families. And then veterans were placed on a secret wait list where they waited for a system set up for them to take care of them. Some of them were made worse, their conditions were worsened, and some of them even died waiting to be cared for by a system that was set up for them. Now, let me make it very clear. The American Legion believes that the VA is a system worth saving, and we work every day to make sure that we stand ready with the men and women who work tirelessly at the VA to help veterans. But there are issues, and we need to continue, each and every one of us, to help fix those issues for veterans so that they are well taken care of. They've placed their lives on the line. There are husbands who can no longer hold their wives, women who can't dance with their husbands, and children who are without parents. We owe those veterans and we owe those family members unlimited resources and the best that this grateful nation has to give. My call for action to you is to do everything that you can to make sure that veterans receive the benefits that they've deserved by virtue of their honorable service. Contact your congressman, contact your congressional liaison, go to the VA and volunteer to help veterans, to help those men and women who've given you the opportunity to choose to do what you choose to do in life. If you love your freedom, ladies and gentlemen, thank a veteran, because with men and women coming home who are wounded, ill, and injured, whose lives are forever changed because of their service to this nation, and for those who did not make it home, I tell you that freedom is not free. And for you Vietnam veterans, welcome home, brothers and sisters, and thank you for your honorable service. May God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. That was a very, very telling call to action message, and I hope that everyone would take her comments to heart. Our next speaker is Tammy Lambert. She is the director of the District of Columbia Office of Veterans Affairs. She was appointed to this position on May 11th, 2015. She is a U.S. Army veteran and has served in many leadership roles serving veterans. Following her service as part of Operation Iraq Freedom, she became passionate about veterans advocacy, policies, and outreach. She serves as the Legislative Committee Chair on the board of Women Veterans Interactive. Ms. Lambert, would you please come to the podium?
Good morning, everyone. Y'all can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. How are you all doing today? So, when Walter asked me to speak, he kind of gave me a very interesting assignment. I am an Iraq veteran, and so he wanted me to come from the perspective of what would I say to my fellow Vietnam veteran, right? And I was like, wow, what would I say? Outside of the common thank you and welcome home. My father's a Vietnam veteran, my grandfather's a World War II veteran, and I'm an Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran. So this is my ode to my brothers who served in Vietnam. So if you would indulge me for a moment while I read this, I'd appreciate that. The Vietnam War is a story of patriots who braved the line of fire, who cast themselves into harm's way for our country. These patriots answered our country's call and served with honor. 11 years of combat left an ineradicable impression on a generation. Thousands returned home bearing scars and wounds. Still more were burdened by the invisible wounds of post-traumatic stress, Agent Orange, and memories that will never fade. More than 58,000 veterans laid down their lives in the service to our nation. Now and forever, their names are etched into two faces of black granite and a lasting memorial to those who bore conflict's greatest cost. As an Iraq veteran, I stand here today thanking them for their patriotism and valor, thanking them for their heroism and leadership, thanking them for their fortitude and grit, and thanking them for the courage to carry the burden of a nation's perspective that was not theirs to own. These patriots are living examples of the timeless truth that freedom is not free. So to my fellow brothers and sisters, I do say thank you for your service. I ask that, can I get every Vietnam veteran to stand up right now? Keep standing. So now I ask all the other veterans to stand up. I ask you to look at these Vietnam veterans. Can you look at them? Just face them. Face them, face one, and say, look them directly in their eyes and say, thank you. And it's with honor that I had the opportunity to be able to speak to you all today, but I personally, as a dependent of a Vietnam veteran, I would like to salute each of you and thank you for what you've done, because when I came home and I flew into Dover, I had a bunch of Vietnam veterans saying, welcome home. I salute you. Thank you.
Thank you for those great words, and thank you. We do want to make a special recognition today. We have a gentleman in the audience who's also a World War II veteran and a Korean War veteran, and he has served his country faithfully in many positions. A long-time HUD employee, but he was also an ambassador under President Gerald Ford to Barbados and Grenada. So this time I'd like to just have Ambassador Britton Jr. please stand and be acknowledged. Thank you for your service in the Corps, and thank you for your service at HUD, and thank you for your service representing the United States of America. And you'll never know how old this gentleman is. Whatever he's drinking in the morning, I want some of that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. John Angevine, Colonel, United States Army, retired, from Brookings Executive Education. Colonel Angevine is an executive fellow with the Brookings Executive Education, which is a partnership between the Brookings Institution and Washington University in St. Louis. He retired from the U.S. Army with over 30 years of service and had a distinguished strategic intelligence career working with NATO and European defense initiatives, the Balkans War, regional security issues, counterterrorism, and many other intelligence community related policy issues, and has also received numerous awards and decorations for his service. With no further ado, Colonel Angevine, would you please come forward?
Well, on behalf of Brookings Institution and the Washington University in St. Louis, happy Veterans Day, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to especially recognize our Vietnam-era veterans and thank you and welcome home. During my last assignment on active duty with the Department of Defense Commission to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, I gained a deeper admiration and respect for our veterans who served during that period of American history. My fellow comrades of the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and Iraq wars are standing on their shoulders. These Vietnam-era veterans faced a multitude of reintegration challenges from both the American body of politic and the seamlessly endless, inaccurate stereotypes that they were a broken people. As citizens who carried a burden for the whole country, they deserve our respect and admiration. Often, they received neither. They returned to local communities, avoiding telling anyone of their military service. And when they mentioned their service, they were humble and matter-of-fact about it. But the tension between the civilian communities and the Vietnam-era veterans existed, and it was real, resulting in missed employment opportunities, homelessness, being underappreciated, and discriminated against. The consequences of these unfortunate actions delayed these veterans' ability to realize their full potential, both professionally and personally. During the most recent wars, the Vietnam-era veterans community was at a crossroad. Keep their heads down and let the current generation of veterans fend for themselves as the campaigns in the theaters of operation became problematic both on the ground and the American body of politic, or to once again selflessly serve their fellow citizens. They, without hesitation, chose the latter, ensuring the Americans treated Afghanistan and Iraq veterans' service with honor, respect, and dignity. The veterans of the most recent wars owe a debt of gratitude to the Vietnam-era comrades who helped ensure that no future veterans would have to endure the receptions they received following the Vietnam War. Yes. And they set the conditions for an ocean of support for those Afghanistan and Iraq veterans returning to their local communities. The Vietnam-era veterans have created a legacy of continued service that spans the entire breadth of the veteran's life cycle, which begins with military service, followed by post-military education and employment, and then into retirement. For new veterans, the Vietnam-era veterans' legacy shows how to retain and grow personal sovereignty, integrating the independent elements of personal readiness and career development and community reintegration. The Vietnam-era veterans' legacy is a gift to the veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq. It is a gift of opportunities to realize our full potential and fully participate in our communities. The Vietnam-era veterans' legacy is a gift to the local communities to build a veterans-friendly local community. A seed cannot grow or flourish where the ground is neither prepared or welcoming. Veterans accepted into a welcoming community make a home, give their loyalties, and offer their proven talents to continue service to the local community. Equally, veterans must be willing to adapt. I believe welcoming communities create opportunities, employment, commitment, loyalty, and homes. Ladies and gentlemen, all Americans are standing on the shoulders of giants, the Vietnam-era veterans, and I am grateful for their selfless service. I thank them, welcome them home this Veterans Day. Air Assault.
Thank you, Colonel. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Jack Malgary, the Senior Advisor to the Chief Human Capital Officer, to come and introduce our keynote speaker.
At a time of great uncertainty and conflicting viewpoints during the American Revolution, Patrick Henry was a leader of immeasurable vision, principle, and courage. While many colonists supported the safer path of accommodation with the tyrannical British monarch, Patrick Henry spoke powerfully about the meaning of our nation's fight for independence with these words: "Is life or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." Patrick Henry was one of the most influential founding fathers of our nation, and he has been characterized as a son of thunder for the power and clarity of his pronouncements in defining the meaning and cost of freedom and liberty in our nation's emerging identity. Veterans throughout our nation's history are also the sons and daughters of thunder, for they remind us that through their service and sacrifice that we must never take our freedom and liberty for granted, and how costly the price of defending these freedoms and liberties continue to be. One group of veterans, our nation's prisoners of war, possess perhaps the deepest appreciation of why our freedom and liberty are so precious. From the time of Andersonville during the Civil War to the Bataan Death March in the Philippines during the Second World War, to the Chosin Reservoir in North Korea and the Hanoi Hilton in North Vietnam, American POWs have not only fought bravely on the field of battle, but also while in captivity maintained their devotion to duty and our nation's cherished values. American POWs have endured physical and psychological torture, deprivation of food, water, and medical care, and in too many cases made the ultimate sacrifice, which President Abraham Lincoln called the last full measure of devotion. In captivity and separated from one's brethren, family, home, and country, a POW must find the inner strength, wisdom, and courage to continue to serve our country and to never surrender what it means to be an American. Our esteemed guest speaker, Commander Everett Alvarez, represents the finest tradition of exemplary military service to his country as an aviator and prisoner of war. Commander Alvarez served as a Navy fighter pilot flying an A-4 Skyhawk aboard the USS Constellation. On August 5th, 1964, during the course of a combat mission, Commander Alvarez was shot down over Hon Gai Harbor in North Vietnam. He was held in captivity for 8 years and 7 months, finally being released on February 12, 1973. Commander Alvarez was one of the longest-held POWs in American history. He endured unimaginable horrors of torture, beatings, deprivation of food and water, and over a year of solitary confinement in a rat-infested cell. During his captivity, Commander Alvarez was offered early release by the North Vietnamese prison authorities if he would write a propaganda letter to North Vietnamese President Ho Chi Minh. He was demanded to request early release, admit wrongdoing, and praise North Vietnam. Despite years of a hellish existence, Commander Alvarez could not even conceive of the idea of a release bought at the cost of submission to the enemy. By refusing his captors' repeated demands at the cost of continuing torture, beatings, and psychological torment, Commander Alvarez maintained his personal and our nation's highest code of honor, integrity, and commitment. Commander Alvarez and his fellow POWs did not just survive captivity, they triumphed over it. They embodied the values of liberty and freedom that Patrick Henry enunciated so clearly at the birth of our nation. And they created their own thunderous sacrifice and service for our country that continues to inspire us to fulfill a life of service on behalf of our nation's sacred beliefs. It is my honor to introduce to you a true American hero and a son of thunder, Commander Everett Alvarez.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that very, very generous, kind introduction. Distinguished guests on the dais, honored guests today, ladies and gentlemen, let me just begin by saying it is a pleasure to be with you this morning. I didn't have to think twice when I was asked and invited to be your speaker today because of the fact being that you're going to not only honor all veterans, but also to focus on the service and sacrifice of my fellow Vietnam veterans. And I wanted to be here because even though today and tomorrow and this week there are ceremonies like this all over the country, the tradition of honoring veterans on Veterans Day goes back quite a bit. I don't know how many of you in the audience can remember. I remember, and I don't recall how young I was when they changed from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. Raise your hand. You all recall that? There's a number. Well, some of the gray-haired fellows out here, like myself, recall that. And rightfully so. This is something that's been big for a long time. I'm happy to see we have a World War II veteran. Not too many of those folks left, but God bless them. They were a tremendous force in our country. Korean War veterans, besides the gentleman, anybody else? Well, it goes to show you. And of course, you folks who stood up as Vietnam veterans, and of course the veterans of the Gulf War, Iraqi War. You served, you answered the country's call, you served, and you served with distinction and honor, and we recognize you for that, for all the veterans who have done their part for this country. But I can recall, and as Tammy pointed out, and as the Colonel pointed out, coming home from Vietnam. When we came home from Vietnam, you folks, you guys, men and women who were not treated well. You are the folks who received the boos, the catcalls, and you're the guys that were misrepresented by the media at those days, the villains, the guys with the black hat, and that was wrong. Because the facts are, and history has shown, that it was just the opposite. You know, in your youth, in the middle of a very troubled country with what was happening politically, you had the courage to answer the call, and you served. And you veterans who fought in Vietnam and came home proved that you were among the finest warriors this country has ever produced. And that's a fact. And most of you who, when you returned, went back to your communities and you continued your life and you blended into society and you used your GI Bill benefits and education and you progressed and you became pillars of the community in many respects and then into leadership. You have to be honored amongst the best. And myself, I am certainly proud to have been asked to be a member of the Vietnam Veterans Commemoration Committee, honoring the service of Vietnam veterans. Now, this is a 50th anniversary of a 10-year period. There are going to be many ceremonies that started a couple of years ago, and actually most of them started last year, but will continue to the remainder of the 10-year period, recognizing certain events that happened in that time period. But basically, I think that it is rightfully so that we focus on your contributions amongst all the others that we have experienced, other veterans that have done their part. Now, the POW's experience when we come back was totally different, totally different. We received the country's accolades. There were parades, there were parties, receptions, galore. It was, it was a tremendous good feeling to come back to this kind of a reception. But I would look at my fellow Vietnam veterans when I was at the hospital at Oakland and going through the rehabilitation periods and other places, and when I was at the VA working there to see what happened, and I felt, this is totally wrong, totally wrong. So as you heard earlier, we learned from that experience. We learned to glean the veteran from and the warrior from the policies that led to the war. And we kept them separately, and rightfully so. And today, in these ceremonies, we recognize rightfully the heroism of the Vietnam vets as we have of the World War II, Korea, and the Gulf War and Iraqi freedom and what have you, rightfully so. So let me just say that I am proud to be with you today to recognize what you have deserved for so long. Thank you. When we came back after being released from the cells in North Vietnam, of course, there were 590 of us that returned. Ours was a different war because we soon recognized that we had a tremendously unexpected and facing a very different situation. First of all, the captors never considered us to be prisoners of war because, number one, as they said, they never signed the agreements on the treatment of prisoners of war, the Geneva Agreements. Number two, there was no declared war. So we were considered criminals. And believe me, we went through a re-education process, and you heard some excerpts about the treatment we received. Very difficult, all in the effort to re-educate us and basically rob us of who we are, rob us of our spirit, rob us of being an American military person and an American citizen. And they went through extreme efforts to get us to recognize that. So we knew there was only one way we were going to survive that experience, and that is we had to stick together. We had to support each other. We had to take care of each other. And basically the secret was that we developed a prison underground society that was held together by a very rudimentary communication system, so that if you wanted to talk to somebody in the next cell or what have you, you tapped on the wall. And of course, you couldn't be heard tapping on the wall because any communication between cells was forbidden by the camp commander, and if we were caught, we were severely tortured, severely punished. And it went on and on. And so we took care of each other. When the fellows came in, they were pretty well banged up, injured from their captivity, from ejection, because most of us were pilots. We did what we could, but a lot of guys didn't make it. John McCain is a good example that had he been thrown in a cell by himself, he would not have made it. He wouldn't be here today. But because of the grace of God that he had cellmates like Bud Day, a Medal of Honor winner, and Orson Swindle, a Marine. They nursed him, they bathed him, they fed him, they cleaned him when he had bowel movements. They did everything for him for months and months, and he made it. And he was one of the few very lucky that John did. And in enduring that tough period, and I only have a few minutes to basically say this, because I wrote a book about the whole thing. It would take me 12 hours to give you the whole significance, but in 12 1/100ths of a minute, I'm going to, let me just say, 12 1/100ths of an hour. How's that? Better? We can just say that what really, really kept us together, what drove us individually, were the same principles, the same values that you heard Tammy talk about in terms of your service. The same thing. It's the same principles, the same values, recognizing that you are a product and live in the greatest country in the world. We have freedoms. We have a democratic government, and whether you agree what they do or not, it's still the greatest in the world. And we hung to those principles. We hung to those values. And in the end, we made it. And coming back, we knew we were always going to, we always kept our hopes that we were going to make it back. And what we did, we were able to do that, and we were able to come out of there with our self-respect, with our personal integrity, and with our honor. And that was important, because we always had a motto: we're going to return home someday, and we're going to return home with honor. That encapsulates the same basic principles and the values that you folks had when you were in Vietnam, and you were doing your part, and you were doing your best. So in closing, I want to just say that let's not forget the many men and women who are serving today. Let's not forget the 1,627 that are still missing in action. Is that red? Or that's red? Okay. And again, let's not forget all of those who still have the scars and the wounds. And talking about the fellows, let me just say one closing thing. My youngest boy became a Navy doctor, and he served 2 tours in Iraq with the Marines. Bryant, I always felt, was going to be a flight surgeon, be aboard a carrier, clean sheets, 3 meals a day, taking care of the squadron personnel. But no, he lo and behold, I heard he had volunteered to go to Iraq. And I said, when I called him, I says, "What'd you do?" He says, "I decided to volunteer, Dad." I says, "Why didn't you tell me?" Because he says, "I knew you were going to try to talk me out of it." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "So why would you do this to Mom and to me? Because, you're going to be out there." And he said, "Dad, I want to serve my country." I wanted to say, I did that for you already. You don't have to. But no, everyone goes their own way. In doing so, let me just say that the Vietnam vets, given all you experienced, you have been tremendous role models for a lot of other people that followed you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commander Alvarez, for your service to your nation. And we're going to do something here to recognize Commander Alvarez and General Charles Harris for participating in today's event. So if you two will please come forward. I got to move this thing a little bit. Just stand right here, please.
Dr. Irene Charles Harris, this is a certificate of appreciation in recognition and appreciation of your tireless efforts in support of the HUD Veterans Affinity Group and your willingness to maintain a partnering and collaborative relationship with the HUD VAG. On behalf of the HUD Veterans Affinity Group is given this day. You have taken your place alongside those who support our veteran community. Thank you again.
To the Honorable Everett Alvarez, Commander, United States Navy, retired. In recognition and appreciation of your distinguished service to a grateful nation, your gallantry in action against an armed enemy, and to recognize you as a great American and patriot, and a naval aviator of incredible courage and determination. There's no one more deserving of this recognition from the HUD VAG. Your willingness to sacrifice for the freedoms of many is incredible. On behalf of the HUD Veterans Affinity Group, this is given on the 10th day of November, 2015. Thank you very much. Now, we know that time is of essence, but we do want to recognize our other guest speakers. So will you please take a stand right here to my left. I'm trying to get this right. My left, so we can present you your certificate of appreciation. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us. It is an honor to share this stage with you, and I know I speak for Barbara Ward when I tell you that we're humbled by your presence. Thank you.
And thank you again for your taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and to serve as speakers for our program today. Now we get to something that we've all been looking forward to. We will be starting our pinning ceremony of our Vietnam-era veterans. And just so all of you understand what's going to happen, I'm just going to tell you in advance. First, we're going to ask all of our Vietnam-era veterans to come forward. They're going to line up in front of the stage. We will then have our keynote speaker and Dr. Irene Charles Harris come to the podium. Dr. Charles Harris will read the proclamation for the commemoration, and after that time, our keynote speaker and Dr. Charles Harris will then exit the stage, and they will pin individually each of our Vietnam-era veterans. They will also receive a copy of the proclamation. So at this time, as we prepare, could I ask for all of our Vietnam-era veterans to come forward, please? And you will be turning facing the audience. Dr. Trowell Harris and Honorable Everett Alvarez, could you please join me? Okay, we will now commence with the reading of the proclamation.
Proclamation of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War by the President of the United States of America. As we observe the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, we reflect with solemn reverence upon the valor of a generation that served with honor. We pay tribute to the more than 3 million service women and men who left their families to serve bravely, a world away from everything they knew and everyone they loved. From Iron Duane to King Song, from Hue to Saigon, and countless villages in between, they pushed through jungles and rice paddies, heated monsoons, fighting heroically to protect the ideals we hold dear as Americans. Through more than a decade of combat over air, land, and sea, these proud Americans upheld the highest tradition of our armed forces. As a grateful nation, we honor more than 58,000 patriots, their names etched in black granite, who sacrificed all they had and all they would ever know. We draw inspiration from the heroes who suffered unspeakable as prisoners of war, yet who returned home with their heads held high. We pledge to keep 1,600 of our service members still among the missing. We pledge as a nation to do everything in our power to bring these patriots home. In the reflection of the war, we see the military family members and veterans who carry a pain that they may never fade. May they find peace in knowing that their loved ones endure, not only in medals and memories, but in the hearts of all Americans who are forever grateful for their service, valor, and sacrifice. In recognition of a chapter in our nation's history that we must never be forgotten, let us renew our sacrifice and commitment to those who answered our country's call in Vietnam and those who awaited their safe return. Beginning on Memorial Day 2012, the federal government will partner with local governments, private organizations, and communities across America to participate in the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, a 13-year program to honor and give thanks to a generation of proud Americans who saw our country through one of the most challenging missions we have ever faced. While no words will ever be fully worthy of their service, nor any honor truly befitting their sacrifice, let us remember that it is never too late to pay tribute to the men and women who answered the call for duty with courage and valor. Let us renew our commitment to the fullest possible accounting for those who have not returned. Throughout this commemoration, let us strive to live up to their example by showing our Vietnam veterans, their families, and all who have served with the fullest respect and support of a grateful nation. Now, therefore, I, Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, by virtue of authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim May 28, 2012, through November 11, 2025, as a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. I call upon federal, state, and local officials to honor our Vietnam veterans, our fallen, our wounded, those unaccounted for, our former prisoners of war, their families, and all who serve with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. In witnessing, therefore, I have hereto set my hand this 25th of May in the year of our Lord, 2012, and for the independence of the United States of America, 236. Barack Obama.
Thank you very much, Dr. Irene Terrell Harris. At this time, we will commence with the pinning. I ask the audience for your patience. This is the time for us to pay tribute and to honor our Vietnam-era veterans. Thank you very much. Any of our veterans who's standing and waiting to be pinned, if standing is somewhat taxing, please let us know and we will bring a chair so you can still be seated in line. At this time, could I ask for everyone to please give a hearty round of applause for our veterans? Thank you so much. We will now have everyone please be seated so we can finish our program. Thank you so much. While everyone's getting seated, we're going to go ahead because we have several acknowledgments that we'd like to give at this time. And I just want to make sure, and I'm sure all of you can appreciate the amount of planning that goes into having a successful event such as the one today. So we would like to acknowledge the following groups from HUD. HUD Facility Services Branch, could you please come forward as quickly as possible? There you go, yes. Next, we have the HUD Property Management Branch. Next, we have the HUD Security Branch. We would also like for Robert Reynolds to please come forward, right here, please. We have a certificate. Actually, I loaned him that beautiful motorcycle that's sitting out front. We would like to thank him for loaning that to be on display. Dr. Jack Manchari. And who's next? And John Greeny. And Mr. Elmore, could you please stand there for just a moment? I don't have a certificate to give to Walter Elmore, but I know he's one of those people that works tirelessly to put on programs like this. And he said to me that all the work that went into it was worth it when he saw the pinning of all of our Vietnam-era veterans. He does so much in the planning and coordinating, so I'd like for you to give him a round of applause.
At this time, we would like to acknowledge organizations and others who assisted in the planning and the organizing and the presentation of today's ceremony. Former HUD Deputy Secretary, the former Ambassador, the Honorable Ray Bernardi, thank you for your presence. Your HUD Field Policy Management Team, your Diversity Council, the Office of the Deputy Secretary, the Departmental of Equal Employment Opportunity Office, the Office of the Chief Human Capital, HUD Broadcasting, what a great job. Another great job, the HUD Printing and Graphics Department. I'm so jealous. And the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, the Center for Minority Veterans, and my co-host. All of our veterans, and particularly our Vietnam-era veterans. Brookings Executive Education, Washington University in St. Louis, Olin School of Business, the District of Columbia's Mayor's Office of Veterans Affairs, the Small Business Administration, the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club, the Maryland chapter, Mr. John Mulgary, a senior advisor. So let's give them a warm round of applause at this time.
Before we have our benediction and our taps, I would like to say, please come forward. I would like to say that it has been indeed a pleasure to serve as the Mistress of Ceremony, and I really enjoyed co-chairing with Lloyd Calderon. We were so honored because we're both Vietnam-era veterans. So we are passionate about making certain that all of our veterans are recognized and honored, and so it has indeed been our pleasure. And at this time, we'd like to, yes, benediction?
Oh my
Or make
gosh,
your
yes.
comments.
So no comments. You've heard a lot already, so let us hear from Chaplain Louis Ganaway, who will be providing the benediction. And from then we're going to hear, we're going to show have a moment of silence, and then taps will be played after that moment of silence. Chaplain Ganaway.
And while he's coming, just to let you know, there will be refreshments next door after the program officially concludes.
I would like for you to uncover. I want to say to the Vietnam vets, as well as to all veterans, may God bless you and keep you. And because he has blessed us to stand tall, look good, and stay on our knees to help those who need a helping hand up, not a handout. I want to thank you, fellow soldiers, sailors, and Marines. I'm partial to the Air Force because my father was an Air Force retiree, but I'm Army, so but I'm one of them ones that was in the trenches. I like to take care of people, and I love taking care of these at HUD, so may we bow our heads. Father, I thank you for this opportunity to give honor to whom honor is due. Let us stand proud as we not only accept being honored, but not get big-headed and forget that we are to help our fellow veterans. Keep us, watch over us, and those of us at HUD who serve, bless, keep us in humility that we will always help those who need help. This I ask. Amen.
A brief moment of silence, followed by taps.